Hello, I am Robin Warner, an experienced engineer and magazine editor, and I am driving a 2021 Kia K5 GT line. Now, the K5 name replaces the Optima for 2021 and rides on a new platform called N3, which also offers new powertrain options. And Kia thinks it looks like a tiger. Looks like a tiger? Yeah, looks like a tiger. But before I get too far, let me first tell you just what the Kia K5 is. The government classifies the Kia K5 as a large car that seats 5, and Kia agrees. The K5 GT line is in the middle of 5 trims, above LX and LXS, but beneath the EX and GT, which means it includes 18-inch alloy wheels, different cloth seats, and a flat bottom steering wheel. More importantly, it is powered by a turbocharged 1.6-liter inline-4, producing a peak output of 180 horsepower and 195 pound-feet of torque. That power then goes through an 8-speed automatic transmission and onto the front wheels. The base price for the 2021 Kia K5 is $24,555. A GT line starts at $26,355, and my test car costs $28,400. For those that are interested, I included detailed specifications including options, dimensions, and capacities in the description. All right, let's take a look around the car. Okay, you are looking at the 2021 Kia K5 GT line. The K5 is the replacement for the Optima. It is the mid-size sedan from Kia, although it is a big enough interior and trunk that it is considered a large car to the government. Kia likes to call this a tiger face. I'm less certain about that part. I don't know exactly how that relates to a tiger, but you know, you do have an interesting pattern grille that's thin and wide and incorporates into the headlights. And it doesn't look bad, I just don't think it looks like a tiger. And you've got this kind of like front lip kind of faux front spoiler thing going on, which is kind of cool. It is a GT line, which means it has 18-inch alloy wheels right there, and also a rear spoiler back here right there, which is tasteful enough. I think that's good looking and not ostentatious. I appreciate that. Also, it does say GT line right there. But they also say, oh, chrome exhaust tips. Yeah, except that those aren't real exhaust tips. And those aren't even fake outlets built in the spoiler where there's real tailpipes coming through. No, it is truly a single tailpipe, single exhaust right under there. So that's a little bit cheeky in my opinion, but you also have a faux rear diffuser right there, which does nothing for you in real life, but it's there. Okay, gripes aside, my nitpicking over, I do think that this is a nicely shaped car. I think it looks cool. I think they did a good job with the sloping roof, and I do appreciate the fact that you've got a big old piece of glass up there to bring in a lot of natural light into the cabin. However, downside to that is that puts a lot more weight in the car and it puts it up high. So the engineer in me isn't too happy with it, but just, you know, the human being side of me is like, yeah, no, it looks nice. So anyway, there it is, 2021 K5 from the outside. All right, let's look inside. All right, and actually I want to start in the back seat because I have the front row put into position that I'm comfortable with, and that is a lot of space back there. So that is what having a large car's worth of interior space gets you. A nice, comfortable, wide enough, and definitely plenty of legroom for rear passengers. And also a nice, healthy trunk as well. Trying to get that so the camera gets the light in there. So things to appreciate there. Okay, moving in. You've got this not so subtle red interior, but it's not bad looking. I think it looks nice, and you have nice supportive seats in there. Those are GT line seats. See, not GT, GT line. And it says so on the steering wheel as well. And you'll notice that it is a flat bottom steering wheel with plenty of buttons and switches and stuff like that. I do very much appreciate that we have real gauges there. I'm becoming a bit of an old school curmudgeon when it comes to that kind of stuff, but I quite like having gauges for speed, engine speed, coolant, and fuel economy. That's a nice little thing. You get a very healthy size center console touchscreen to work with, and easy to use climate control, and a nice shifter to work with big cup holders. Plus, this is a really quite clever thing, I think. So you have the Qi charging right there, but check it out. It goes in to this slot right there. That pulls down, so it the phone goes in vertically and kind of hugs the phone as it goes in, so it stays secure even as you're driving. That's a cool feature. You've got plenty of USB ports, and as the Qi charging that I just showed you. The one thing that's missing in here are heated seats. I'm actually a little surprised by that. The price point, it's not expensive, certainly. For $28,000, that's a good price, and you get a lot for that. But honestly, the Koreans are usually quite good at value for your money, and I would think that heated seats be included. Heated seats are an option, but they're not standard. But check it out. Look at all that natural light being let in. That's pretty slick. Like that. Okay, let's go for a drive. So clearly Kia is picking up cues from its successful Stinger sports sedan that it released not that long ago. That is a rear-wheel drive based sports sedan that uses the same platform as the new performance/luxury brand from Hyundai, the Genesis. Hyundai also owns Kia, and Kia and Hyundai share a lot of powertrains and a lot of platforms. But each company goes in their own directions in how they put those platforms to use and how they mix powertrains, etc., etc. Anyway, this K5 takes use of some new stuff from Genesis and from the Stinger, including the 2.5-liter turbocharged engine, which makes 290 horsepower and 311 pound-feet of torque, which is very respectable numbers in this class of car. And also an 8-speed dual-clutch transmission as an option. And there's also now, I don't know if this is specifically from the Stinger, but there's also an all-wheel drive option. But the way that Kia dissected all these different options to offer to the customer is pretty perplexing. So the 2.5-liter engine and 8-speed dual-clutch transmission, those go together, and those are only available on the Kia K5 GT, which is the top K5 you can get. And that's logical enough, and it makes sense to have the more powerful engine with the slightly faster shifting dual-clutch transmissions. Dual-clutch transmissions tend to have a little bit more performance than automatics in general, although not necessarily. But then the all-wheel drive system is only available on the lower horsepower engine, which is this engine, the 1.6-liter, also turbocharged inline 4, that produces 180 horsepower and 195 pound-feet of torque. So if you want all-wheel drive, you have to get the less powerful engine. But if you want the more powerful engine, you can only get front-wheel drive. That doesn't add up. And the best guess I have for this is that for whatever reason, the dual clutch transmission that Kia has access to cannot easily convert to all-wheel drive because it would be extremely expensive to do. So, okay, fine. But in that case, don't offer the dual clutch transmission. Make the 8-speed automatic as fast shifting and as performance as you can, and offer all-wheel drive with the more powerful engine. You're talking about a front-wheel drive car here with 290 horsepower. And that's a lot of power to put down to only the front axle, especially when it's trying to steer. So do you want to try to have over 300 pound-feet of torque as you're accelerating out of a tight hairpin? I mean, that's not sports sedan kind of driving. That's not the feel that you would typically go for. Now, if you had an all-wheel drive system to distribute torque and give you some of that power to the rear axle to give you a little bit more of a rear-wheel drive feel, that would give you a ton of credibility and really give you an advantage at this price point in a mid-size family sedan to be able to say, I have almost 300 horsepower, over 300 pound-feet of torque, and kind of an all-wheel drive feel. So to me, the dual clutch transmission is not worth being front-wheel drive only for the 2.5 liter. Now, it's possible that for some reason the 2.5 liter cannot accept the 8-speed automatic, and I guess in that case, Kia's just kind of in a pickle, and they thought, well, it's better to offer the 2.5 liter than to not, and they did it that way. But regardless, it's perplexing that you cannot get the more powerful engine with the all-wheel drive system. Okay, that's the end of the rant. The fact that you can get all-wheel drive is nice. The fact that you can get a 2.5 liter in a dual clutch transmission is also nice. It's just a shame that you're so tantalizingly close to having some combination of both, and yet you don't. Okay, that's okay, because what Kia offers here in this brand new platform is a really good and solid car. It feels really solid underneath me, like real firm, no jarring or quivering motions and things like that. It's also longer, wider, and lower. It's more than 2 inches longer than the 2020 Optima, which this replaces, and also an inch wider, and nearly an inch lower too, 0.8 of an inch lower. So it's got a nice look, maybe not like a Tiger, but it's got a nice look and feels really solid underneath me. And really, let's go ahead and slow down here for a second. There's no traffic around me. 180 horsepower from the 1.6 liter with nearly 200 pound-feet of torque. Traction control. It's really not bad. I'm not wanting for power there. It's good to remember that the 1.5 liter from the Honda Accord is 192 horsepower, a little bit better, but also 192 pound-feet of torque, slightly worse. So you're talking about very competitive with the competition with this base engine. And the 2.5 liter really is. That's ahead of the game. But that much power to the front wheels does make me a little squeamish, I have to say. But more importantly, that solid feel relates to decent driving dynamics. Now, the Koreans have a reputation of being kind of like cheap and tinny feeling, and that hasn't been the case for at least a decade, really longer than that. This car feels structurally sound, solid, the engine feels robust and capable, and everything feels well built. Powertrain, chassis, frame. And you get that solid feeling when you're driving as well. Now, this doesn't come alive in your hands, but the steering feels precise. It's got a pretty quick rack here, and you have good reactions to your inputs. And there's nothing about this that is unsettling. I think Kia did a really good job compromising between ride and handling, because the ride is plenty comfortable, but it's not underdamped. When you go side to side, pitch and dive, when you're braking and accelerating, roll when you're turning, all totally reasonable. You get some, but it's not excessive. This car is not underdamped, which is so tempting for so many people to do because they want the better ride. But this handles well, and it's a really good compromise. The ride is maybe a touch firm over some of the bigger bumps, but never jarring, never harsh. And as a response, you get crisper handling than you would expect in a family sedan, which I really, really appreciate. And to that end, of course, you get drive modes. You get 4 of them. You get Smart, Normal, Sport, and Custom. Now there's actually, if you get the GT with the bigger engine and dual clutch, there's a Sport Plus as well, so there's a 5th. But in this GT line, you get 4. Now, they're a little bit interesting. So normal is your default, and sport speeds up the throttle map a little bit and changes the steering and the transmission shifts. And custom, of course, is customizable. You can choose you want normal throttle map, but sporty transmission shifting or whatever. But then you have smart. Now, smart is a little bit maybe spooky, a little big brothery perhaps, but smart apparently learns how the driver likes to drive in different circumstances and quote unquote adapts to those circumstances. So it's almost like it's predicting how you're going to want to drive and automatically adjusts the drive modes to those circumstances. So if you tend to have a calmer commute to work and you want a more comfortable ride, but a sporty or a more fun ride home from work, then theoretically the system will automatically adapt from normal driving to work in the morning and sport on the way home from work. There's no way for me to really test it. I'm not going to have this car long enough for it to adapt to me, nor am I going to drive it enough on a regular basis, even if I did have it long enough. So I can't tell you whether it works or not. I can just tell you that it's there. You know, the K5 is a brand new platform, new powertrain options, and still very competitively priced. Obviously, as I said earlier, I do miss the fact that I don't have heated seats here, but they're an option and you could get heated seats if you want them. And $28,000 is a very competitive price for a good looking car. There's a lot to like about this Kia K5, and the Koreans have always been very, very good at offering value for the money, and this is no exception. So if you like the way the K5 looks, I think you're also going to like the way it feels to drive. So honestly, K5, well done. I'm Robin Warner. Thank you for watching.